India has accused Pakistan of violating a ceasefire deal just hours after it was announced. The internationally mediated agreement is meant to stop a dangerous escalation in fighting, which has killed more than 60 people since Wednesday. Explosions have been reported in several cities across Indian-administered Kashmir. India's Foreign Secretary has called on Pakistan to stop the violations and says Indian armed forces are responding. Pakistan hasn't yet commented.
There have been repeated violations of the understanding arrived at earlier this evening between the Directors General of Military Operations of India and Pakistan. This is a breach of the understanding arrived at earlier today. The armed forces are giving an adequate and appropriate response to these violations, and we take very, very serious notice of these violations. We call upon Pakistan to take appropriate steps to address these violations and deal with the situation with seriousness and responsibility.
Let's bring in Kulsoom Sharif. She is joining us on the phone from New Delhi. It's not a good start to the ceasefire, Kulsoom, with the Foreign Secretary making that statement less than 6 hours after he announced a ceasefire.
Well, absolutely. Those celebrations that we were talking about, people welcoming the ceasefire, have been pretty much very short-lived. Right after that sudden announcement by U.S. President Donald Trump on Truth Social, saying that India and Pakistan have agreed to a ceasefire, also congratulating the two countries for taking the step. We've heard of these explosions, particularly in Jammu and Srinagar. The Chief Minister, Omar Abdullah, took to Twitter saying that there are explosions. What happened to the ceasefire? And now India's top diplomat has said the armed forces have been holding a strong vigil and they've been asked to respond appropriately to the violations. Now, India is accusing Pakistan of causing these violations. Well, remember, for the people in the border areas, tonight then is no different from what has happened in the past couple of nights. And except that there was supposed to be a ceasefire in place.
And Kulsoom, it's a very confusing picture. What reactions are you seeing from India to these developments?
So when we were out and we were speaking to people about how they respond to this ceasefire, many of them were very happy and they thought it was the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that actually got the ceasefire in place. There are some others who are not happy that India did not take strong enough action, and there are others who said that finally peace should prevail and they're happy. We spoke to some traders who are happy that it will be business as usual. People who, for all these airports that would have been shut until May 15, they're hoping they would open up. There was a sense of optimism, but also, I think, cautious optimism, because people were wondering whether the ceasefire will hold. And across the region, when we're talking about ceasefire, the first thing is celebration, and then people have doubts whether the ceasefire will really hold. So the official reaction is what we've got from India's top diplomat. And we've also had Chief Minister Omar Abdullah already saying that what happened to the ceasefire 6 hours after what it was supposed to be in place.
That is Kulsoom Sharif joining us on the phone from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Kulsoom. We're going to bring in Osama bin Javed. He's joining us live from Lahore. And I've seen over the last 2 hours or so conflicting reports on this from Pakistan. Osama, tell us what you're hearing.
Well, Elizabeth, as we were just discussing a couple of hours ago, that this is a precarious ceasefire. This is a ceasefire on a line of control which has been aflame for the last few days. So it will take time for it to take effect. And especially in the congested Kashmir region, where the postures has been declared to be on a standoffish position by both of the militaries, it will take time for them to climb down that ladder. So what we're seeing here is actually more or less the same, which is being reported by local sources on both sides. We've been speaking to our correspondent Omar there, who's been reporting about what on the Indian side, villagers are reporting that there has been a cross-border shelling from the Pakistani side. And here, we're hearing exactly the same.
I apologize. We have lost our connection with our correspondent, Osama bin Javed, in Lahore, Pakistan. But just one bit of news from Pakistan. I believe we do have Osama. Osama, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, Osama, I was just about to say that we are seeing, it's being reported that Pakistan's information minister has told local media that as of now, there hasn't been any ceasefire violations.
That's exactly what we were just discussing, that Pakistanis on this side of the border are saying that these border violations are happening by India, and Indian villages on the other side are saying it's happening because of Pakistan. And what we need to understand is that because there's forward postures that these positions have been taken, and there are areas, there are border posts across the line of control where there is a conflicting claim of ownership now, that Pakistanis are saying some posts, the Indians are saying they've captured some posts, and in the fog war it is unclear. So according to some officials that we've spoken to, they're telling us that it will take time and it will require patience on both sides. So Pakistan is adamant that it is not violating the ceasefire agreement, it is abiding by it. There is a Prime Minister's address that is due to take place sometime soon, and we're hearing from security officials that they want this to be a de-escalation, and if India carries out another aggression, they'll be ready to respond.
Osama bin Javed joining us with the latest live in Lahore. Thank you, Osama. Let's bring in Mike Hanna. He's live for us in Washington, D.C. And Mike, I haven't seen any reaction to these latest developments from the U.S. Are you hearing anything there?
No reaction as yet from many in the Trump administration. The president himself is out playing golf, as he does on Saturdays and Sundays. We heard earlier the vice president, J.D. Vance, also putting out messages on social media, congratulating the Trump team for achieving the ceasefire, as he puts it, and in particular the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who appears to be playing a major role in what the U.S. says are its ongoing mediation events. Interesting to note that Rubio, in his social message earlier announcing the ceasefire, said that he was going to get these leaders of the opposing sides together in longer-term negotiations at a neutral site. Now, there hasn't been any further developments in that, but clearly the U.S., whatever its role in all of this, contemplating a longer-term negotiation process to attempt to look at the very root causes of this recurrence.